I really like the 3DS. It's currently my favorite console that I have. If handhelds count as consoles, which I think they do. Anyways, I also really like RPGs. They're my favorite genre of video game. That's why it makes me really happy to see the 3DS have so many fantastic RPGs on it. So I decided to compose a list of the top 10 3DS RPGs. Before we start, let's get a couple things straight, alright? First, this is my opinion. It's not based off of any sort of Metacritic score or anything, and if your list differs from mine, please be respectful about it, and hey, if you feel like, you can post yours right down below in the comments section, alright? I'll be sure to check them out, okay? Cool. Next, I want to address the fact that I will only be allowing one game per franchise on this list, alright? Now, let's get started. Number 10 goes to Bravely Default from Square Enix. It's a stellar RPG that goes back to Square Enix's old roots. It's not exactly a Final Fantasy game, but it's the closest we can get. I mean, I don't really count 13 as a Final Fantasy game, or 13-2, or would that matter, 13-3. Anyways, I like this game. It has an interesting battle mechanic where you can actually wager turns in the future to give yourself more turns right now, or guard this turn and sacrifice your turn to give yourself more turns in the future. It's a really interesting mechanic that works pretty well. This is a solid entry on the 3DS, and that's why it's on the list in the number 10 spot. Next on this list is Shin Megami Tensei 4, the successor to 2003's Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. This game is fantastic. It adds a lot of new demons, having more demons than any other Shin Megami Tensei game before it. It also has fantastic battle mechanics with a new smirk mechanic, where if you hit an enemy's weak point, you can get a small boost to your power. It also has a huge expansive world to explore. It has fantastic graphics. It's got a cool story in which every single decision you make actually will affect what ending you get. The one problem I have with it is that the characters are a bit weak, but other than that, it's a fun game all around, and one that you should totally check out. Coming in number 8 is Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. Wait, isn't that violating the one game per franchise rule, since Persona is part of the Shin Megami Tensei series? And the other half of you are probably saying, wait, Persona is part of the Shin Megami Tensei series? Well, you see, Persona is a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series, and for the sake of this list, I'm gonna count it as a separate franchise, alright? Cool. Persona Q is a combination of the Etrian Odyssey games and the Persona games. It has the dungeon-like elements and the map-making elements of the Etrian Odyssey games, combined with the battle system of Persona with the emphasis on weaknesses and team attacks. And as a fan of both Persona and Etrian Odyssey, I can safely say that they mesh perfectly together. This game is super fun, it's got great graphics, it's got a great battle system. The characters are a bit shallow compared to their counterparts in the other Persona games, but it's really cool to see the Persona 3 and 4 cast both there. It's got fantastic music, and I cannot recommend it enough. Next on the list is Fantasy Life, a charming little RPG by Level 5 Games, the creators of such franchises as Inazuma 11, Professor Layton, and the fantastic Ni no Kuni. This game is awesome because it literally allows you to choose whatever life you want to live, and you can just do it. it has a bunch of different job classes, 12 to be exact, and each feels different, such as if you're a cook, you have a completely different set of things that you have to do than if you're a, say, fisher or a mercenary. And this gives it a lot of freedom, as you can do whatever you feel like, and it doesn't actually hold you back very much. Not to mention, it also has a cute little story and some of the most hilarious dialogue I've seen. Seriously, this is like up to Ace Attorney standards of funny. All in all, Fantasy Life is a fantastic game. It's got a lot to do, and it's just a lot of fun to be had. And hey, Level 5 Games announced that they have a sequel in the works, so we'll even have more lives to do. Wait, it's for the iOS. Why would you do that? Next on the list is yet another Shin Megami Tensei spin-off. Devil Survivor 2 Break Record is a remake of the DS game Devil Survivor 2, and it is a lot of fun. It has a very interesting battle system, which is a hybrid between tactical RPGs and turn-based RPGs, where the entire battlefield is on a grid a la tactical RPGs, but when you attack somebody, it goes into a first-person view, and it becomes a turn-based RPG, kind of like Dragon Quest and the likes. It's kind of complicated, but it never feels overwhelming, and it's always very satisfying to do, and a lot of fun. Not only that, Devil Survivor 2 also has a fantastic story. It has some of the most amazing characters in video games, and it's got a lot of replay value too. And the remake adds an additional story sequel kind of to the main game, giving even more replay value. This is one for the books. Coming in number 5 is Rune Factory 4. For those of you who don't know, the Rune Factory series is a spin-off of the Harvest Moon series. It adds combat to the farm simulation elements of the Harvest Moon series. And one of the main strengths of the Rune Factory games is the sheer number of things to do. If you ever get bored with something, there's always 20 more things to do. You can farm, you can raise animals, you can talk to the townsfolk, you can fish, you can fight enemies, you can dungeon crawl. There's a lot to do here. And in Rune Factory 4, all of these elements are as good as they have been in the franchise. They're all so much fun to do, and you will almost never be bored in this game. Not only that, but it also adds new elements to the franchise, such as the ability to upgrade your town and your inventory space and stuff, since you're the new mayor of this town. And for the first time in a numbered Rune Factory game, you can play as a female, which is cool for all those ladies out there who want to dive right into the Rune Factory games. It's a lot of fun to be had, and I can't recommend this game enough. Next on this list is Xenoblade Chronicles for the new 3DS. This game is a port of the Wii game with the same name, well, except for the 3D port. But to be honest, I think the Wii version is better, because for once it has the Japanese voice work, and it also looks a bit better because the 3DS, or in this case the new 3DS, has slightly limited graphical capability compared to the Wii. That said, however, this is still Xenoblade Chronicles in its entirety, and there's a lot to say about putting that on a portable game console. It's still the most fantastic game ever. It's my favorite game on the Wii, actually, and there's a lot of exploring to do, a lot of beautiful places in this game. The combat system is great, the story is great, the characters are lovable, the voice acting is surprisingly good. I love British voice acting. I really hope Xenoblade Chronicles X has British voice acting. Anyway, not to get too far into a tangent, this game is just fantastic in any way. If you can find the Wii version, which is kind of rare nowadays, I would get that one over this. But if you can't, this version is still amazing. It's kept all the elements of the Wii version over, which is all it really needed to do. And because of that, I can give you my honest and full recommendation of this game. Getting the coveted bronze medal is Pokemon X and Y. I decided to put these games over Pokemon ORAS because I thought that putting a new main series game on the list felt more fitting than putting a remake of them. And plus, Pokemon X and Y was revolutionary. The transition between the DS and the 3DS was awesome, and all the Pokemon look really good in their cel-shaded 3D likeness. It's just mind-blowing. Not only that, they added the new fairy type, and this is the first time they added a type ever since the second generation 15 to 20 years ago. And the fairy type is awesome. It's actually one of the strongest types in the game now, and I really like it, and it actually helps buff the poison type a bit, which needed buffing because the poison type used to suck. Not only that, but it added Mega Evolutions, which certain Pokemon can get temporary boosts. It's kind of like Digi-Evolution or whatever. I didn't watch Digimon as a kid. Whoops. And I really like Mega Evolutions. Some people don't really like it, but I feel that they're a great addition and that there's a lot of potential for them too. Not only that, but the Pokemon they introduced in this game, although there aren't many of them, they're all really good and very memorable. This game was overall a fantastic game. It was a bit on the short side compared to most Pokemon games, but I can forgive it for all the innovation it brought to the series. Coming in number 2 is Etrian Odyssey 4: Legends of the Titans. This game is fantastic in every way. It is probably the best Etrian Odyssey game to date. It brings in a lot of innovation to allow new players the accessibility to ease them into the experience while keeping the old tough-as-nails Etrian Odyssey experience for the returning veteran players. Not only that, it adds airship stuff, it adds street pass, it adds a lot to the table. And the core experience, the dungeon crawling, the classes, the FOEs, the bosses, it's all still there, and all as fresh as ever. This game is probably the best Etrian Odyssey game, and rightfully deserves the silver medal. Did this surprise you? Did this surprise anybody? No, but honestly, Fire Emblem Awakening is the best RPG, and in my opinion, the best game on the 3DS. Everything about this game is just perfect. The battles are intense and require a lot of strategy. The new mechanics about partnering up are deep and fun to use. The characters are awesome, and the interactions that you can have between them, between battles, is really fun, and so, most of the characters are just so memorable. Not only that, the ability to make your own avatar and for you to actually be in the game is awesome. This game has everything, and I'm so glad that the Fire Emblem series is continuing on with Fire Emblem Fates. And I cannot wait for Fire Emblem Fates to come out in North America. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I worked really hard on this video, and if you liked it, feel free to like it down below, comment, or subscribe. I mean, if you want. I'm not gonna force you to do that, once again. And if you didn't agree with this list, or thought that I put too many Shin Megami Tensei games on it, well, I'm sorry, but if you want, remember, you can always comment below your own list, and I'll be sure to check them out, alright? Cool. This is Cassius, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Bye!